I just love when something that is considered a conspiracy, crazy talk, things that you just blabber out of your mouth and you have nothing to prove them on, and you're just crazy cuckoo, and it's not like that. Actually turns out to be true. And we have an amazing case of that just now because things are getting very complicated and very deep in a very huge rabbit hole. Greetings, ladies and gents. My name is Hills of the Bearded Balkan Blabbermouth, and I am disgusting, and I am back. I was away for a few days because we had some kitty issues, and if you have read the community posts on my YouTube channels, you know what's been going on. We have had a lot of attention being needed over there, and I just couldn't afford to take away from it, so I decided to just step away for a bit to focus on the what's important to me in my life right now. But now I'm back because things have settled, and I have a doozy as a welcome back video because I was talking a lot in the previous videos about how things are connected, how there is a whole huge club, as George Carlin says it.
It's a big club, and you ain't in it. You and I are not in the big club.
Yeah, that video. And I was always considered that this is going to be my opinion and maybe a few other people. However, now it turns out a lot of the people that talked about that were actually pretty right. And some of the people were right all along. And we're gonna take a look at that. I want to give a special shout out to That Park Place for the two articles that we're going to be looking at today, because they basically compiled a lot, if not all of the stuff that were on X posts, on replies and everything. We're also going to go through some of them, but this is basically the compiled version that it's going to give you a very clear picture of how things are. And the first article is Microsoft Finance Take Us North, a video game that glorifies illegal US border crossing. Elon Musk calls it weird. Now, Take Us North is basically a game that you are a coyote. And if you don't know what a coyote is, go check it out. It is not a very good thing, but your job is to basically smuggle illegal immigrants, and the game presents it as story-driven, emotional struggle review and explorations to the migrants. Which, yeah, completely dismissing the fact that you're playing as a criminal that is smuggling illegals into the United States. And why is that important? Because we have talked about on this channel in the last several videos about how censorship that is going on in the UK and possibly in the US and the EU is basically targeted to protect children from dangerous influences from video games. So just do the math, and if 1,000 children play this game, how many coyotes are going to be spawned from that? The article starts, Microsoft is once again dipping into politics, and this time it's raising eyebrows worldwide. True, the tech giant is funding a video game called Take Us North, developed by Anima Interactive, that puts players into the role of Gaia, essentially a coyote tasked with leading migrants illegally across the US-Mexico border. Just to make something clear, this game was promoted as an indie game, just like an indie developer that is trying to make it in the world. That was the initial premise before all of this. Nothing suspicious, just going there and be an indie aspiring developer. The premise of Take Us North. Anima Interactive builds itself as a socially conscious game studio that wants to expand perspectives and drive positive cultural impact. Their flagship project, Take Us North, is a survival narrative game where players guide groups of migrants through desert fences and hostile landscapes. Now, right off the bat, you could have done this in a post-apocalyptic world, and the borders would be, let's say, for warlords that have divided the land after the collapse of society, and you want to drive people to a safe place up north. That would have been perfectly fine. But no, they're using real-life scenarios and real-life inspired stories from people who have been smuggled illegally into the US. According to the coverage from Wired, Spectrum Local News, and the studio's own Kickstarter, the game is meant to highlight the humanity and resilience of migrants. It draws inspirations from interviews with people who cross borders in Latin America, Africa, and the Middle East. aiming to create what the studio calls an empathy machine. Yes, do feel empathy for the people who come illegally and try to basically not do anything in the country. And in a normal situation, you could see something like that working, especially if it's a war torn country, if it's something of a global crisis and stuff like that. But no, this is a problem, and it's a problem for a lot of countries right now, especially with migrants that don't want to accept the country that they're going to's values, and they're trying to instill their own values that are vastly different and much more violent than the country that they're going into. And they're trying to claim, this is my culture, I'm going to express it here, and I don't fucking care that your people don't share that culture. They need to bend to me. And that is a real issue. In practice, that means the player essentially becomes a coyote, the very term used in real life for human smugglers who guide, in reality, traffic migrants across dangerous terrain, often working hand in hand with cartels. And Microsoft's role, the project received early stage support from Microsoft's ID Xbox Developer Acceleration Program, a funding initiative that helps independent studios bring their games to market. The studio has also launched a Kickstarter campaign raising tens of thousands of dollars to keep development going. Microsoft's money is tied to the project has sparked serious backlash. Why is one of the world's largest tech corporations financing a video game that portrays illegal border crossings as heroic journeys? I can tell you why, because it's all part of the narrative. The narrative is to have multiculturalism over the whole globe, to have everything as a big melting pot, to remove nationalism and all of that. However, those things are usually kept in the real world because it's a issue that has been discussed in the real world outside of gaming. However, with gaming, you can influence the young minds. You know, those same minds that safety acts from certain United Kingdoms and other countries are trying to protect from the violence itself. However, that's not considered violence. That's considered accepting different people, accepting the differently minded and stuff like that. Meanwhile, you only need to open several UK magazines and newspapers to see exactly what's going on. The article also explains the reality of coyotes and their cartel connections, the exploitations that they do, and the deadly practices that are often employed by these coyotes in order to get what they want. So basically, you're glorifying these, and coyotes are people that are truly, truly amoral creatures. And you could actually sympathize with people that are trying to escape the poverty and just look for a better life in a bed. And they're trusting these coyotes and they're falling victims in a lot of things, especially for trafficking and for carrying over several illegal substances. So in any case, however you look at these things, the situation in the game itself, it's not really a positive message. And Microsoft is all about the positive empathy message. It's not. It's being reality and presenting something that is vile as something positive, something that, again, they were supposedly fighting against. You also have Elon Musk weighs in with a single comment under Grumps' post. Weird. And when Elon Musk says weird, you know that he's going to probably investigate it and says, okay, this is not sitting well with me. Well, let's go to the next article because that's where it gets juicy. DiscussThing illegal immigration game reportedly has connections to United Nations, Sweet Baby Inc., and Wings Interactive. Now, this is the portion of the video that I wanted to talk about a lot because Smash JT, Master of the TDS, Madam Savvy, and a bunch of other people that replied and posted a lot of more information basically exposed everything. Master of the TDS has a video up and I will link it down in the description so you can go and watch it, showcasing exactly what the connection is, the vile connections between so many companies and so many entities that it is a spider web of evilness, that when you think that you basically exposed one company like Sweet Baby Inc. or like Wings Interactive, they always branch out and have already branched out and laid roots somewhere else. This is the kind of villainy that gamers and free thinkers are fighting against. This is the kind of mentality that goes into these parasites that call themselves people, and they're just spreading their disease everywhere in every possible directions, planting their seeds and just always having a branch somewhere that needs to be eradicated. The illegal border crossing simulator game Take Us North has been exposed for having connections to Sweet Baby Inc., Wings Interactive, and even the United Nations itself. The United Nations thing is that this game was presented there as a promotion and as a empathy and positive messaging. I think it was back in 2021 as Master TDS presented it. And again, go check out the video down in the description below and go check out Smash JT, Madam Savvy, and everything connected to this because it is fucking abysmal how connected these creatures are. If you thought Microsoft funding a game glorifying coyotes and illegal border crossings was bad enough, buckle up. What has now come to light through the efforts of the YouTube channel Gothic Therapy and its host Master of TDS in Writing Realm is far worse, and we're going to go in it. This is the video, by the way. This is the video, just so you know, and you can watch it. You can go watch it through that park list as well. That Take Us North, the controversial survival narrative game from Anima Interactive, isn't just a fringe indie darling. It's not even simply a woke project that slipped through the cracks of corporate funding. According to new revelations from Gothic Therapy, Take Us North is the product of a carefully constructed pipeline linking Microsoft, Wings Interactive, Sweet Baby Inc., and even United Nations. Those are some pretty huge names. And yeah, Sweet Baby Inc., Wings Interactive, they're just woke bullshit, but they do have influence. And when you pitch in Microsoft and the United Nations, you can see the size of the beast. It's like a final boss in Elden Ring or something. This isn't just gaming anymore. This is global. And again, this is pushing a narrative for real life, for the development of the future generations, and for how reality should be bent through gaming. This is what wokeness and what these cult narrative thinkers does. They want to change reality. They want to change how you think, how you're prepared for the real life, or rather not prepared, because they teach you to live in a bubble where everything is pink, and when real life hits you, you are absolutely stunned. And that actually makes you very, very susceptible to further control. The surface story. At first glance, Take Us North looks like an art house indie project with a political slant. Players assume the role of a Goya, effectively a coyote, guiding migrants illegally across the US-Mexico border. We had that in a previous article as well. And here we have the first one. Wings Interactive crawls back. Anyone who has followed recent industry controversies knows Wings Interactive. Yes, Master of TDS basically exposed everything from it. The shadowy funding group vanished from the public eye after Gothic Therapy scrutiny over its role in bankrolling obscure titles and pushed activist messaging while pulling in suspiciously high funding totals. Well, Wings is back and their fingerprints are all over Take Us North, according to Gothic Therapy. Wings co-founder Audrey LePrince personally promoted the project. Remember, Wings doesn't operate like a normal publisher. It functions as a grant body distributing large sums, often up to $500,000 into games that rarely attract more than a few hundred players. Then we have the Sweet Baby connection. Wings' connection to Sweet Baby Inc. is well documented. Sweet Baby co-founder Kim, there she is down below, served on the board of Wings, directly linking the two. Sweet Baby, infamous for inserting identity politics into games like Spider-Man 2, Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, and God of War Ragnarok, has been accused of turning gaming into a vehicle of ideological messaging. This is a portion of the tweet that you can see. And then we have Clever Endeavor. The story doesn't end there. Gothic Therapy highlights another key player, Clever Endeavor Games, which also poured money to Take Us North. Conveniently, Clever Endeavor bankrolls Wings 2025 Elevate program, the same program designed to push marginalized voices into the gaming spotlight. And here we have a breakdown of the funding. So the funding flow looks like this. Microsoft bankrolls Anima Interactive through ID and Xbox. Wings Interactive endorses and promotes the game. Clever Endeavor provides additional financial backing while sustaining Wings itself. That is not indie, that is institutional. Yes, it is. This is something that has been shaped, molded, created, and baked to perfection by these companies. And it is basically a bullet in the gun of the propaganda machine. This is all being planned out for several years already, which leads me to actually have the following thought. This is not something that is going to end. If they have projects that have started in 2021 or even further back that are still now going out and being carried out and being presented, even though they're exposed left and right, that means that they have a lot more projects, and we're probably going to be seeing several more years of this, of projects being bankrolled, trying to shape reality, trying to shape the narrative, trying to influence the mind of the young people and of the gaming community as a whole. And they would constantly try to take control. They're not going to succeed because we're here and we're not going to let them succeed. However, these things are happening and they're happening very heavily and they're influencing the games that we otherwise would love. And when they're presenting an indie game like that, that means that even the indie scene is no longer safe to bet. You can no longer be someone that just trusts an indie developer. You have to do your research, and that's the harsh reality we live in. It's like living in uncertain, unhygienic times, and you need to check every product, every piece of bread that you buy and try to eat for some disease that poison you. That's how bad the things are. And yes, we are having amazing games coming out left and right this year. However, and we need to defeat it. I will link these articles so you can read them in full. I will link also Master of the TDS's video, and I highly encourage you to go and check out the X posts of both Savvy, Smash JT, and Master of the TDS to see the full unbridled picture. So, because this is something that needs a further discussion and it needs to be dismantled completely. We cannot keep silent about this. Nobody should be keeping silent about it. This should be exposed for what it is completely. It needs the pressure of the public. It needs the pressure of the gaming community. Why? Because otherwise the freedoms that we enjoy, the quality games, are going to be replaced by a global narrative that tends to present everything that deviates from their cult-like mentality as a villainous, dangerous, unwelcome thought process. And this, my friends, is how dictatorships work. You're not allowed to think. You're allowed to follow what the machine brings you and wants you to think. That's it. And we don't want that. We're freedom lovers. We want to think for ourselves, and we want to play the games that cater to us. And that is a fight that is worth fighting for. Anyways, thank you for watching this video. This is all I have for today. Thank you very much if you have watched this far. If you enjoy my content, please check out my other videos. Please leave a like, subscribe, and possibly join the DiscussThing Guild, because your membership greatly contributes to my channel and to saving homeless animals and animals in shelters. Check out my community post to see what's been going on with homeless animals and our cats and everything that we've been doing. And check out the links in the description below. Leave a comment. Thank you very much for watching. My name is Helzo. I was DiscussThing, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Cheers and stay fresh.